If you have been following the news, you know AI agents is the big new thing. You have models like DeepSeek R1, you have models like, OpenAI last week released their browser agent, which is like it performs automations on your own. A lot of these things are there now in the wild, but I have a nuanced take and I want you to watch this full video or at least the partial video until I discuss what agents are and why I don't believe this is the future. The reason "the" is in capitals here is because I need to add more context to this in order to make you understand. So first things first, let's just actually understand what's fundamentally happening. What is exactly happening? Because it's easy to get lost in the hype of agents and 10 more things, 11 labs for voice generation, open router for models and all of that. So much is going on. Let's just actually take a step back and realize what's happening. Right? As of now, if we try to understand, as of now, what we have as a fundamental unit is a foundational AI model, right? So this is a model. This could be like just a text-based model or it could be a multi-model. But what it is that you give it certain input, right? So you give it, let's say I'm gonna keep it text input for now. You give it some text input and it gives you some text output back. Right? So this is one thing, which is like the most popular and the most common use case. And over here, you can have DeepSeek R1, O3 Mini, GPT-4, all of those sort of models, right? Claude, Anthropic, all of that. That's the only intelligence that is available in the wild so far, right? Everything else that you see around this has been built with tooling on top of it, right? So you see those tools where you're automatically able to generate a website, you are automatically able to order something from Amazon, or you're launching your own headless Chrome and you're doing tons of different things. All of that is tooling around the foundational AI model, right? That's one, and that's the most important thing for you to realize, is that the AI itself is not doing anything yet. It's not doing anything at all. You hook up this text output somehow into existing system. Let's say you expose some sort of Puppeteer API, or you give it access to your terminal, or you do something over here. This then, whatever the text is being generated by this AI, is being used as a command to these systems, to these softwares. And then what you do is you create a feedback loop. So whatever output you get from this, you automatically sort of put it inside back in the AI itself, right? As a sort of a text input. So this then completes the cycle where your text input becomes whatever your actual real application is outputting. And then whatever, the AI says that, okay, I need to do this, it is being done by that software, and the output is then feedback into the foundational model again. Now you might say how is it different from AI just actually doing the task? And I'll get to that in a while. But before that, what we also have to realize is that there is a second type of system where instead of text, what you can also do is screenshots, right? I don't think that there is a model yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe that there is a model that can get a stream of video as an input, a continuous stream of real-time video at 30 FPS, 60 FPS, whatever. Most of the softwares that exist, most of the AI models that exist, to my knowledge, as at this moment, which are usable, which are production ready, they take screenshots, right? Even OpenAI's Operator, which they released a week back, it uses screenshots from the headless Chromium that is running in order to figure out where to click, right? And even in that screenshot specifically, I am pretty sure that it's not just OpenAI has not just given them access to keyboard and mouse. They are asking the model that, okay, based on the screenshot, whatever you see, tell us the coordinates, or tell us which button or which selector or whatever to click on that specific page, right? And then the click and everything is performed by the Puppeteer API itself, the actual real system, the actual real thing that is, the headless Chrome or whatever it is, to perform those actions, right? So what exactly is the problem with this? There is no problem. These agents are great. These agents, when they work, they would be able to do a lot of tasks automatically, autonomously. The problem is that this whole thing of, OpenAI's Operator, for example, or any sort of basic automation you are able to do by hacking around a few things, is fundamentally betting on the fact that these models, two facts which I can understand. The first one is that these models will have a limited context window always, right? So that's one thing. Context window is basically like memory, right? So they'll keep on forgetting after a while what exactly they were doing. The second fact that they are betting on is that these models will not get super intelligent. That is how I feel. Like, I mean, see, this video is purely based on, I'm not doing a breakdown of something, or I'm not doing like a real research or anything. I'm just putting out my thoughts, how I have been seeing this industry so far and how I think it will shape up moving forward. What I feel is that these two things are intrinsically built into any AI company that's trying to create an AI agent. And it's funny because it's ironic, because if you are an AI company, then you believe in AI. But if you are building an AI agent which sort of like automates a very specific part or a very specific function, you are betting on these two things indirectly, right? You don't know it, but you are betting on it. The reason being is, first thing, let's imagine that both of these problems are solved, right? Models, something like DeepSeek R1, but even 10 times smarter, let's say, is available, and it has an infinite context window. That it means it just remembers everything. Just like we humans, like we can remember most things, assuming that they can remember most things, they just don't start to lose out context. They are able to create like a human brain like system where, you know, they are able to keep track of important memories, but they are able to like, you know, let go of things which are not important. And then they know that, okay, I remember it was not important. That's why like I'm probably not able to remember it. Let me look it up. Even if you're able to get to those sort of models, that is where I think it will be true AGI, or at least like, you know, a super intelligent model that does not need to be run in an agentic form. Why? Because imagine, let's say we have a model like this and you want to replace something like an OpenAI operator. So in that case, imagine like, you know, you're running it on your own system instead of like a headless Chromium somewhere in the cloud. All you have to do is run that binary, let's say ./AGI -- run or whatever. You run this binary, it starts to see where it is, it starts to screen capture, it starts to take screenshots or whatever multimodal data it supports, and it's starting to remember everything that's happening, right? Now you don't need that Amazon or e-commerce scraper agent, right? Because this specific agent, you can tell it that, hey, I need your help scraping Amazon, right? So you don't need an agent which connects to Firecrawl for parsing the website data into a markdown format, then feeding that agent. Because why? Because it has an infinite memory. So it can go to that website. It can remember how Amazon like really looks. It is smart. It is very super intelligent. So it's operating like us, for example, and it can do anything, right? So I'm getting to a point where these two problems, if they are solved, if they are like getting super intelligent, I mean, let's just leave super intelligent also, even if they are at the same level at R1 or O3 mini, for example, but with infinite context window, you can create a basic tooling where you can just run it on your computer as a pseudo access, give it access to three things: display, keyboard, and mouse, right? As long as this has this access, you are basically, imagine you are giving it access to a person, right? Which can see, which can type, which can move the cursor. That's pretty much anyone can do at this point with computers, right? Most people cannot do anything else beyond this. Because of just these three things and you being able to talk to that agent, quote unquote, you can ask it to do anything. I want to transfer some money from my account A to, you know, somebody else. You ask it and it will do it because it has access to your keyboard. It can understand, it remembers that you bank on, let's say, some XYZ banking website. It can go through your Bitwarden password credential because again, it is able to remember these contexts about you because it sits inside your system. It can remember a lot more than just your system also. Like it can remember your, whatever your preferences are. It can go through your inbox. We have companies, startups doing these things where an AI agent for your inbox, an AI agent for this, an AI agent for that. Think about it. All of them are betting on the fact that no agent which is of that intelligence level will have infinite context window. Looking at the current trends and how AI is going, I don't know what exactly is the blocker. I'm not from a research background, but given that what we have cracked so far, what DeepSeek was able to do with R1 in terms of cost and performance, it's not completely impossible that this happens in the near future, right? These two things which are like, I think these are the core fundamental blockers for a general intelligence system because it has to retain what it is saying, what it has done so far in the past, you cannot just forget it. And I'm not talking about RAG systems or, just information retrieval systems. Those are not something which I'm talking about. I'm talking about these models really understanding what they have done in the past, the implications of that, the results of that, however it is implemented. I don't know. I'm not from a machine learning background. But do you not think that this is the only thing that all of these agent companies and everything is betting on? Because I feel like, at near future, if we crack these things, why do we need 10 different toolings? AI for this, agent for that. I mean, why would you even need to go on chat.openai.com or even Perplexity or all these search engines? They are just built on AI, right? So what I can do is, if I have like a AGI agent running on my computer, I'll just say that, hey, I want to get this result. Now it's its job to figure out whether you have to use Google or whether you have to use Bing or whether you have to use Perplexity or anything. So I feel that we are heading towards a future which is slightly ironic in the fact that AI companies fundamentally do bet on the fact that AI would not get better, because as AI gets better, a lot of these companies will start to become irrelevant. A lot of their function would be combined into a single powerful agent itself, right? I don't know how the OpenAI's initiative is going, where they split into multiple ChatGPT agents, right? One agent is supposed to do this, one agent is supposed to do that. Not agents, I think they were calling it ChatGPTs only. So you have like different marketplace of one agent, one chat is doing something, other is doing something else. I mean, sure, I think that is okay if you have some sort of private data to train on or something like that. But again, like if you have some system which is like a super intelligent infinite context memory, just feed it that, right? Like I mentioned earlier also, more than super intelligent, I would say this is a bigger blocker to solve now. Because if you can keep the intelligence level same while keeping the extraction of past information available at the rate like how previous chat information works, I really feel like we are good enough on the models that are available today. DeepSeek R1 is a really good model, and I don't say this about any other model because, like I mentioned, I think in the last video or last couple of videos, is that this is the only first model that was able to solve a real production bug, which I was not able to solve this in the last 2.5, 3 years. I have a one single prompt, maybe I can share it someday, but it's like a very basic, I mean, it seems like once it gave me the solution, it seems like such a stupid type bug, but I gave that prompt to O3 Mini also, it was also not able to solve it. So that's why I am very bullish on DeepSeek R1 in general and what China is doing for this AI space, because they have really cracked something special. Now, the only two things that are left to crack are these two, I feel, and then most of these agents or most of these companies would more or less become irrelevant. But do let me know what do you think about this. That's all for this video. I will see you in the next one really soon.